Welcome. I'm Liz Jennings, host of today's Explore Careers Autism Services. It's Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. So glad to have all of you here today as we're exploring different industries. I'm so glad also to be kicking this series back up. I took a hiatus during August, so we're starting up and we'll have a lot of great topics in the coming months. Autism services is not a job per se, or not a specific industry that you can easily look up in the careers in demand resources. So we have to be a little bit more creative when we're trying to figure out with labor market data what kind of growth there is. And so using careerforcemn.com, explore careers, it's in the middle of the page on the homepage. There's a green bar, it says explore careers. And I typed in two different industries: special education teachers within a school system and personal care aides, people who provide one-to-one services for clients. And both of them came with a return, that these two areas are really seeing high growth and high demand in the next 10 years. So personal care aides, and over the next 10 years, there's going to be a growth of 31%. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates at least 150,000 new job openings, or job openings of any type, including those lost towards retirement, will be available in Minnesota. And in the same way, in the secondary school system, special education teachers are going to be seeing a growth. The 10-year growth job openings is going to be at least 4,000 openings. So we can kind of get a glimpse that this is a job area to keep your eye on. Another tool that's available to job seekers and employers, anyone for that matter, is on Department of Employment and Economic Development's webpage. There's a career pathways tool called Occupation in Demand. It's a lot like the Explore Careers on the CareerForce MN site. It uses some of the same Bureau of Labor Statistics data. It just lays out the information a little bit differently. And in this case too, we can see special education teachers' secondary school growth compared to middle school, compared to kindergarten teachers, being a special ed teacher within the kindergarten system, or even a preschool teacher. And this one too overlays the wage, average or median wages, compared to the growth. So you can see the blue bar says that this is a high growth area, and it also has a median wage of $62,000 in today's dollars. So it's another helpful tool that you can use when you're exploring any new direction for your jobs. So for today's event, I invited three different organizations to come and talk about what it's like. What's the day-to-day job like to work with someone who has been diagnosed with autism, who's been receiving services, whether it's a child or an adult. And so we have speakers from the Minnesota Autism Center, from Fraser, and from Northeast Metro Intermediate School District 916, which is a public school district. And they're going to give their perspectives on working in the industry and how they hire, what they look for in job seekers. So first up, I am very happy to introduce Heather Domhosky from Minnesota Autism Center, and I think she might even have a couple of her coworkers. They all have a team that they've brought today. So take it away, Heather.
All right, thanks, Liz. I am here with my coworker, Nicole. Nicole, you can say hello.
Oops, sorry. Okay, you're back on there.
Okay, so perfect. Well, thank you for having us. I guess we have just a small presentation kind of put together here, so we can kind of just discuss a little bit about who we are and what we do. So to start, so MAC, which is of course, our acronym, Minnesota Autism Center, we've been providing therapy services to children and adolescents between the ages of 18 months to 21 years who have been diagnosed with autism since 1996. So MAC was actually founded by two parents of a little boy who was diagnosed with autism, and his parents just had the toughest time finding services for him. And they ended up creating this company from the ground up, and now we are about 400 employees. So we've grown exponentially over the years and continue to keep growing as well. So our team of mental health professionals, we provide different services in home, and we also do have centers throughout the state. So we have centers in the metro area. We've got Minnetonka, Eagan, Woodbury, Fridley, Maple Grove, Vadnais Heights. Nicole, am I missing one? I feel like I am. Eden Prairie.
Yeah, Eden Prairie, Minnetonka, Maple Grove, Eagan, two centers in Eagan,
Yep.
Virginia, Duluth, a center possibly opening in Bemidji, I believe, and in Monticello. And then Heather, you've got Hutchinson, yeah, right there.
Yep.
Hutchinson, Mankato, Medford, Rochester.
Yep, and then we do in-home services throughout the state as well. So we have clients in different areas that we don't have centers necessarily located in those areas, but we do provide services for clients in home. So for example, like we have a group of clients that are down in the Austin area that we do in-home services for, currently in Red Wing. We have a couple places up in our northern area that we're doing services for, more around kind of like the Brainerd Lakes area. So we're just kind of all over, and we just keep growing. So, yeah, and we're a little different in the aspect as far as scheduling goes. So we are operate through Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. So it's a schedule that I feel a lot of people really do enjoy, having those day hours. So there's no nights, there's no weekends, which is really nice for a lot of people. So that they're, especially folks that have families and whatnot, so they're home, with their families as well. And as far as, I'm sorry, Liz, I know you'd mentioned when we were kicking things off, but so kind of a day in the life, I think you were looking for us to kind of describe. So it would completely depend on which position, as far as what a daily look of that position would look like. Our biggest need right now is for behavior therapists, which is a position that we have posted at pretty much all of our locations right now. And this would be someone who's working one-to-one with the client on a daily basis. Usually we split up the day. So the behavior therapist would be in the morning with one client and then the afternoon with another, and have their lunch break in between. And it really just depends on where their client is at as far as what kind of needs and their treatment plan. So a lot of times there might be clients who need to work on social skills. They might be working on speech and verbal, different sensory type activities. We have a few different kind of steps as far as the age group goes. So our 18 months through kind of the beginning years through 8 years old is the early intervention. So kind of working with them, as soon as possible to try and help them out as far as kind of leading them into a place where they're I guess a little bit more able to kind of prepare for school. Then we have the school readiness program and pathways, which is more along the lines of the school years. And then after 21 years old, they do graduate from our program and would be transferred into a more adult program. And I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking, but Nicole, I will let you take the next slide.
Are we going to the next slide or this is the next one that's up right now?
Yep.
So what we're currently hiring for, mainly we're hiring for behavioral therapists right now. I think and speech language therapists, I believe. But the biggest need right now for us is a behavioral therapist. We've got a lot of children on the waiting list that could start immediately down in our Rochester location, down in our Egan location, and our Eden Prairie facility. Like Heather had already touched on, our hours are 8 to 4:30, 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, so no nights, no weekends, no being on call. So you have that, they have that work-life balance. Same with the children. 18 years of age, it's kind of based on education level and experience level. What else can I tell you? Any questions at all?
Well, what I'm curious is, you say that you have to be 18 years old. So you get started, but then also, how can a person get hired by you and then still stay over the years and get their speech language degree or, other higher ed? Kind of tell us a little bit about your career pathways within your company.
So continuing education. So let's say they
Yeah.
graduated high
Yeah. How
school.
do you help a person like if they started, at one point and that they don't really have a background in any of these areas, but really want to grow? How do you
Right.
help them grow within your company?
We have continued education programs where they could go and pursue their bachelor's degree, maintain a B average. I believe annually, MAC will provide $1,500 plus free certifications. Like people come in already with like their bachelor's degree. Let's say they were with MAC for a few years, and they're like, we really want to pursue a career as an occupational therapist, and they could return to school. We do help with that continued education. There's a lot of wonderful examples I could tell you about within our organization of people that have grown into higher roles or different roles. But there's always those possibilities. Did I answer all your
Good.
questions, I think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So kind of just some of the different positions that we have openings for right now. We just have a couple slides with a quick kind of job description of what we're looking for. So of course, we've got the clinical supervisor. And this would be for somebody who does have their master's degree and would be licensed marriage and family therapist, social worker, or a counselor. And most of the time we prefer somebody who has experience with autism and children, but that is more just a preference than a qualification. And then we of course have our occupational therapists, speech language pathologists, and our BCBAs. And this would be somebody who has the licensing and education requirements. I believe it is, to be 100% honest with you, I know it's a bachelor's degree and I don't remember what the licensing is. I can certainly give that information though. And then of course, again, we would love somebody who has some experience with autism in children, but that is not a deal breaker by any means. All right, and then how to apply for us. We have our career page, which is on our company website, the mnautism.org. And if you just do /careers, it'll bring you right to that page. And we have a little search engine, so you can type in if there's a certain specific position you're looking for, you could type that in. Otherwise, if you're just looking for by location, which kind of openings we have at that location, you can do that as well. And just go ahead and apply. We all check our portal every day, for new applicants and whatnot. So we're always following up on that. And then we also I have our phone number listed here. So if there's any questions or, you want to speak with somebody live right away, you can definitely give us a call at 952-767-4200. And yeah, is there anything, I guess that we've missed at all, Liz, or that you'd like either Nicole or I to touch on a little bit more?
Yeah, I wanted to touch a little bit more on the settings that you work in. You went through some of the locations, and we have this slide that talks about that you work with some people via telehealth, and then you have some of the therapies. Is it Remind me, say it again. Is it all clinic based, or do you make house calls? What are some of the different ways that you provide services?
Sure. So we have centers that we do provide services at. We also do in-home services as well, yes. So kind of just depending on the client's needs and what the family is comfortable with. We used to be strictly center-based, and kind of after the COVID-19, kind of hit us, and we turned to doing a lot of in-home services. It was something that was just more comfortable for a lot of the families and clients, especially when a lot of people were getting sick and we weren't able to have as many clients in the center, just as kind of for spacing and reasons and whatnot. So we do still provide those in-home services, and some families just would prefer that over a center. But the settings, so each center is a little bit different, and it kind of just depends too on what, we have some centers that are a little bit more geared towards some of the younger clients. We have some of our centers are geared a little bit more towards the older clients. So the center could be set up a little bit different depending on kind of what the major needs for that age group would be. Does that
Good.
help?
Yeah, thank you. And are you looking for people with bilingual skills? And what languages, if so, are you looking for? Do you have that need?
I feel like that's always helpful. I mean, and yeah, Nicole, I'm sure you would agree. Um, we don't have any specifics saying, that we would need somebody to have that. I think it's always helpful, of course. Um, just because we've got families all over the place that are needing services, tons of kiddos on the wait list. And so yeah, it's very helpful to have somebody who is bilingual, especially if we have a family in need, who, maybe the parents aren't especially if fluent in English or whatever the case might be. So that would always
Sure.
be helpful.
Good, thank you. And my last question is, say in this, in the people who are viewing right now, there's a person maybe somewhere in their 40s. They want to make a switch into a different industry, and they're really considering autism services. They maybe they have a 2-year or a 4-year degree. They've worked for a number of years in something else, customer service perhaps, or retail, or hospitality. Doesn't matter, anything. How would you like them to structure their resume? What do you want them to put in their cover letter or their resume if they're thinking about working at your organization?
Good question. I would say that, just kind of gearing towards being somebody who's passionate about helping, just helping in general. Somebody who really enjoys working with kids. Somebody who is passionate, about helping with mental health. Somebody who's patient. Yeah, I would say those are probably my biggest qualities. I don't know. What would you say, Nicole?
Sorry about that. I would say exactly what you said. Having experience isn't necessary. We do put everyone thorough training, and just having that passion, to work with children, watch them grow, meet their goals, and like Heather said, patience is key. Every day is a little different. But yeah, if anybody is welcome to apply.
Sure. And so then should they email you at mac-hr@mnautism.org, maybe just to have that conversation? Because sometimes I realize if you receive a job application where a person's never worked in this, it might be a stretch. So how should they go about that?
Yeah, have them submit their resume or just an inquiry, and ask if one of the recruiters could reach out. And we kind of well, obviously we all recruit for different areas. Like Heather does mostly like the South and the West. I do the Metro, and they will forward on the candidate's information to the appropriate party to have a conversation and possibly set up a phone interview.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you to the two of you, Heather and Nicole from Minnesota Autism Center. I really appreciate you being here today and sharing with us all of this information about how to get into the field.
Thanks for having us, Liz.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're going to learn now about the school setting. We've got a team from Northeast Metro 916 Intermediate School District who's going to tell us how they approach hiring people to work in their school district. Welcome.
Thanks, Liz. Hi, everybody. My name is Megan McAllister. I'm the Director of Human Resources here at 916, and I've got Teresa. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Teresa Wallace. I am a teacher on special assignment for our 916 schools.
So Teresa and I are going to tag team this presentation today. I'm going to share a little bit about kind of the district as a whole. Teresa will share some more specific about autism services because that's really her area of expertise. And then I'll close it out and talk a little bit about some job opportunities and how you can apply if you are interested. All right, so just to start, we're an intermediate school district, so we do function a little bit differently than a typical K-12 school district. So we're one of 4 in the Twin Cities area, and we serve about 6,000 students a year. And our supports are really focused on programs that a traditional school district maybe would not have the number of students or the resources available to provide. And so we don't have any sort of traditional elementary, middle, high school programs. Our focus is really on more alternative types of settings. And so we have 3 area learning centers. In addition to that, we also have a career and technical education center that we house at Century Community College. So high school students have an opportunity to come in and take classes in a variety of different areas: medical, dental careers, construction, cosmetology. We do some care and treatment programming. So we provide the academic supports for care and treatment centers. And then our largest area is special education services. And so within that, one of the primary pieces that we do is we serve students, about 500 students a day, in level 4 self-contained special ed programs. So we're working with students that have been in a member district, which I'll talk about in a minute, and have kind of exceeded the resources that are available there, or things just aren't working and that student is needing some additional things to find success. And so our job is to step in and be able to provide some more intensive services with the ultimate goal of being able to return those students back to a home district or at least restrictive setting. So as an intermediate, we have 13 member districts that we service. So we cover the north and the east suburbs of the Twin Cities. And you can see on that map there, where our programs are housed. So they're pretty spread out. You can see all the way as far north as Blaine and then down to Woodbury. We have right now 700 plus probably staff, and about 90 to 95% of those individuals are working directly with students. And we have 16 different programs where our staff are working. And then in addition to that, our member districts can also contract services for us. And so they can come to us and say, hey, we've got a need for an autism specialist or a special education teacher, and we will send our staff out to those districts as well. So a mix of both in-house and then providing support out in those districts. And then I'll just share a little bit. I thought it might be helpful to talk about our mission statement. So as a district, our goal is to respond to the unique needs of students, educators, and school districts with innovation, quality, and trusted experience. So I'm going to hand it over to Teresa because she does all those things, and I'm going to let her explain a little bit about the autism services that we provide here in the district.
Perfect. Oh no, it's blank.
I'm afraid this one is blank. So Teresa, give us a good description and I will share your face instead.
Liz, is it okay? The slides are, can I share my screen or no?
Sure. Yeah. Here, let me stop sharing mine and go
Okay,
ahead.
sorry about that. We just had some updates. I should have sent you a new copy. Okay. Just hold on one second here. Give me one second,
There.
Teresa.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Slide 5, Megan.
Yep, I will extend.
Right. That's a little
There you
easier
go.
for me to speak to. There we go. Thank you. So a little bit about students with autism spectrum disorder. I know you heard from Mac as well. The prevalence right now with the CDC is 1 in 54 children, and males are 4 times more likely to have this diagnosis or category of service than female students. Nearly 50% of our student population in our 916 special education programs have a categorical label of autism. And these students have a lot of strengths. There are a lot of things that they're really, really good at, including visual processing. We use a lot of, instead of verbal processing, a lot of visual supports for them to be able to express themselves and be really well understood. They have a lot of deep special interests, which are so fantastic. And we really like to work with them on those areas of strengths. And they typically, a lot of individuals with autism have great memory skills. We have a lot of students who will walk around and they know every single person's birthday and, you know, just really great, unique things that make it really fun to work with this population of students. Their needs, I included this visual because it really outlines the 3 areas that students with autism struggle with. So things including social interaction, social skills is a key thing to teach students with autism, as well as communication and flexibility or rigid patterns of behavior are things that we're all working with these students. Go ahead, Megan. Thank you. So autism services in our district and in most school districts look like 2 different things. One area is direct student support. So we're going to talk about some positions in a minute that working with these students can look like. But direct student support is working with these students throughout the day, supporting them on academics, supporting their communication and social skill interaction with their peers and with adults, supporting their behavioral needs, which includes like reinforcing them for the things that they're doing really well during the day. And it also includes things like supporting individual supports. Our students need a lot of processing time. So we use a lot of unique supports that are designed for that specific student. So that's a big portion of what we do directly with students, is run through some of those supports that they need to be successful at school and to learn. We want them to really be able to access their education well. Indirectly, some student supports look like building partnerships with families and maintaining connections with community resources. That's really important work for our families with students with autism, is connecting them to the resources in their own communities. We do a lot of resource creation for families with things that those students or children are struggling with at home to help support, you know, really important family time. And we do a lot of training and coaching and mentoring for staff in our own buildings that work directly with students with autism. So a lot of different ways to support students with autism in our district. So Megan, we were talking about this. She thought it might be kind of interesting to explain what a day in the life of one of our staff members could be. And we are always looking for educational assistant specialists in our programs. They are vital to the success of our students. And those are direct support staff that are with our students throughout their day. And depending on the program that they're in, that start day can start anywhere from about 7:15 in the morning to about 8:30. And then they're with the students throughout the day. They prepare the classroom before the students arrive. They greet students and help make sure they get to the right place. They're supporting them in completing all their routines, reinforcing them for what they're doing really well, and giving them some correction or redirection when things are a little off track so that they can keep learning. They're supporting them in academics along that right side and doing things like you'd think of in a typical school, like monitoring safety or recess or lunch and those types of things. EAs get 3 different breaks during the day. So however that's broken up in your classroom. And then at the end of the day, after students go home, you clean, you reset the classroom. And then if you have any extra time, then you're supporting the teacher in creating some of those unique learning tools that they might need to be really successful. And the impact that EAs have with our students is really, it's impossible to describe how important that role is. Our teachers cannot teach without these important staff members. So it's really an essential role that we're always looking for interested and invested staff to come and support our students. And we do provide a lot of training. If you have no experience in that, it's willingness to learn and the ability to participate in that training as well. Go ahead, Megan.
All right, thanks, Teresa. So just to give you, Teresa gave you some insight into what the typical day, there is no typical day, but as close as we can get to a typical day in one of our classrooms looks like for an education assistant specialist. And there are lots of career opportunities for those that are interested in working with students on the autism spectrum. And so in addition to that education assistant role, which I'll talk a little bit about in a minute, we also have currently, we've got posted an autism resource specialist position. That position does require a autism teaching license, and it's more of a consultative role. So really being able to observe what's going on in the classroom and provide some strategies to teachers and other staff in the classroom to increase student success. Education assistant specialists, like we talked about, those are 6.5 to 7 hour a day positions. And all of these positions, I should say, follow the typical school calendar. So typically you're starting that last week of August in a workshop week setting, and then going through the end of the school year, which is typically the first or second week of June. In addition to those 2 positions, we have a lot of other related services that we call it, or wraparound supports, that are working with our students on the autism spectrum. So that can include behavior analysts, occupational therapists, and speech pathologists. All of those individuals do require an advanced level degree. So they usually have a bachelor's degree and then a master's, or typically a master's degree in their area of expertise. And then always looking for special education teachers as well. From an education assistant specialist position right now, we do have a number of openings, and specifically for students on the autism spectrum, South Campus, which is a secondary program for students that's housed in White Bear Lake on the South Campus White Bear Lake High School property. That's right now where we're looking for the most need. So if you live in that area, I would definitely encourage you to check out our website and check out that program. It's really great. All right, and then just some additional things, benefits, things to look forward to as you look at joining our team. So unmatched professional support. Teresa mentioned that we really try and set our new employees up for success. So we do a monthly orientation that's, we're really mindful about providing training on the front end to be able to provide you with tools and resources so that when you step into that classroom, even if you haven't had a ton of experience working with that student population, that you feel prepared to be able to work with those students. And so there's about a week and a half of training that includes certification in professional crisis management, which is working on de-escalation strategies and techniques. We do a trauma-informed practices training. In addition to that, you have a day to be able to job shadow and just sort of observe and take in what you're seeing. We have a full day special ed orientation. That's a crash course for what special education programming and services looks like here in the district. So a way to connect with a lot of people within the district, build those connections for potential resources you may need to reach out to in the future, and just again learn some of those strategies to be successful in the role. In addition to that, we've got state-of-the-art facilities. We've opened a number of brand. There's a couple of pictures here on this slide of those new facilities that we have opened within the last probably 5 years. So we've got 2 K-8 elementary buildings. One is Pancalo Education Center, which is located in Lake Elmo, and then the other is Carter Blue Education Center, located in Blaine. Those are 2, like I said, K-8 programs, and then we also have our Cora Secondary School or Education Center, and that houses a number of our special ed programs as well, and that's located in Little Canada. A lot of intentional design with these. We took the opinions and the feedback from our staff to create environments that were safe and welcoming, and really surrounded and focused on student needs. So they're beautiful facilities to walk into. In addition to that, small class sizes. So you're looking at about 5 to 8 students within each classroom. And then within that classroom, you've got a special education teacher and then 1 to 3 education assistant staff, depending on the size and the needs of the classroom. We put lifelong career because we're really invested in our employees. We've done a lot of work around grow your own initiatives. So for individuals that start as an education assistant, we have opportunities through a couple of different universities to provide support to get your special education teaching license. And we've seen tons of success with that. We feel like that's a really great way to build people that are already invested in the district to continue their career and hopefully have a long one with us. So that's really exciting. And then the good part too about this district is it's a community of like-minded educators. We've got, so many people that are focused specifically on serving our students with the most challenging needs. And so at any point you can hop over to, another classroom or to a colleague and be able to reach out for support. And that just, I think, is something that sets us apart as well. All right, and then how to apply. So we have a careers page, so you can go to 916schools.org/careers. All of our positions that we have open are currently out there. So feel free to check out those job descriptions and submit your application. You can also always reach out to us at hr@916schools.org as well. And that's it.
We had one question come in for you. Do you
Sure.
find that people who are neurodivergent themselves do well in these positions?
Did you say new to, can you repeat, Liz? Sorry.
Do you find that people who are neurodivergent themselves do well in positions and, be able to give back, serve students?
Absolutely. Teresa, do you want to speak to that? I feel like you may be able to, but yes, I would say 100% yes.
Sure. Yeah. I think number one, that's a fantastic question. And I think that there are a lot of opportunities that people who are themselves neurodivergent, we would really benefit from having them on our staff and learning from them as well. Maybe how differently we can support students too. So I think the answer to that is definitely yes. And also, we all have more to learn with working with students. And I think that this is an area that if you want to give back, that would be a phenomenal way to do it. So I would say yes, all the things, yes.
Yeah, great question.
Thank you. And do you have educational assistants who are over a certain age? I mean, do you take all ages or do you only want young people, or what does that look like?
No, we have a wide variety of staff. We have some staff that have been here 30 plus years and some that are just starting their careers with us. So open to all.
Great. Thank you. I put your contact information in the chat area, and you can see it on the screen, www.916schools.org/careers. And job seekers can email the team at hr@916schools.org. So thank you, Megan and Teresa, for being on the call today and to talk about 916's work. I live sort of in the area, so I'm a little familiar with the breadth of programs you have, and I think it's a fantastic program.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hey, we're going to go on to Fraser. I invite the team from Fraser to talk about the services that you provide. So take it away.
Alrighty. So I guess I'll just kick us all off. So Fraser, we're mainly located around just the Twin Cities area, and a lot of our focus is on the younger population. So we're one of the largest nonprofits in Minnesota that provides autism services. And we'll just kind of go through it slide by slide, I suppose. So, we have 1,500 employees right now. As far as the 9 service divisions, that's not all different levels of autism. That includes like HR and things like that. But we have ABA services, pediatric therapy services, day treatment, and then we do have services as folks get older as well. We have community living programs, group homes, things like that, case managers to help people out as they get older as well. Um, and so, as far as Kayla and I go, we are mostly on the ABA side of things. That's where we work with. But if anybody here is interested in the other programs, we definitely can answer some questions about those as well. We hop over to the next slide. Perfect. And so just a little background about Fraser. We've been kicking around for about 80 years. It was started by just our founder just started a school in our house because she thought that everybody deserved education. So obviously a little bit bigger now, though we do still have a school in Richfield. So that's still a major part of what we do. But one of the more unique things about Fraser is just the multidisciplinary approach that we're able to bring, being a little bit larger. So somebody that is at our Richfield school, for example, can get pulled out of class to have a physical therapy session or a session with an occupational therapist or a speech therapist just right there. They don't have to go to another facility, or the family doesn't have to find go through recommendations or referrals or anything like that. It's all under one roof, or at the very least one company, and we can relocate. If a kiddo starts off in one of our clinics, they can move to another one that has the services they need. We do have quite a few locations these days, and some of them are bigger than others. So, but yeah, I think that's probably one of the more unique pieces. Kayla, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Just to kind of highlight a little bit about who, our culture and kind of the strong foundation that we have here at Fraser. So kind of being a nonprofit, we kind of just value, the care of our clients and putting our clients first. And also, being that collaboration part with our families is extremely important too as well. But also just providing that supportive environment too for all our employees as well. So, that you're getting something out of it just as much as the clients and the families are too as well. So just the ability, to kind of have that positive effect on other people's lives, just that kind of giving and that caring and wanting to help people is definitely something that we find here is in our DNA here at Fraser. And also just, having a meaningful and lasting difference too in any career that, we do provide here at Fraser, but also knowing that, you're working with individuals who are caring for you just as much as you are for them too as well. So that's just a little bit about, our culture here at Fraser. And then we can continue to the next slide. And then also to kind of talk about some of our open positions too that we have available for, like Sean was saying, a wide variety of different opportunities. So I could specifically kind of speak to the positions that I specifically recruit for, which is kind of like our behavior technician. Also, we have a behavior practitioner and mental health technician. So those are typically our entry-level positions where we just require like a high school diploma and 18 years of age. So no experience is required. We do have like all forms of like paid training too as well, and just really seeking individuals who are wanting to grow and work with kids, as these positions are primarily working with kids around that preschool age range, so anywhere from 2 to 7 years old. And then with our BTs, you're typically working on that one-on-one basis with our clients throughout the day. And then with our mental health technicians, it's more along the lines of like group work. So you're getting to work with probably 7 to 8 other students in one room too, along with that. And then Sean, if you want to talk a little bit about your positions too.
Sure. Yeah. So I recruit also for ABA and the pediatric therapy. So I know board certified behavior analysts have come up a few times throughout this, so we of course also hire for a board certified behavior analyst, and that's just somebody who typically has a graduate degree in a related field and has also got passed their exam through the ABAI, which I forget what that stands for, but I can look it up. The Association for Behavior Analysis International. So they're the ones who host that test. It's a national exam. So if somebody's certified, it's not like most mental health professional licenses where it's a per state basis. So it's a little bit easier in that regard. And so the BCBAs do a whole variety of things, just depends on how much experience they have. Somebody who's newly certified might be in a position that's actually somewhat similar to like a behavior technician in some respects, in that they're still working one-on-one with the kiddos, but they also have some of the higher level responsibilities of helping create the treatment plans and advance those as the kiddos reach their goals and get older and everything. And then the qualified supervising professional is a little harder to explain. I mean, it's not complicated. It's just a fairly new position. So that's somebody who has their graduate degree and their post-grad license. So such as an LPCC or an LMFT. Nurse practitioners can also qualify. This is all laid out by the DHS. They also have to have additional hours, specifically working with autism or related conditions. And that's all something I won't dive too much more into. But they perform evaluations. And this is a remote position, or at least a position that can be performed 100% remote. But they perform evaluations of the comprehensive multidisciplinary evaluation. I think that's all that stands for. It's just evaluating if somebody, the need for services, basically. And I'm not a QSP, so I can't really talk about it too much more than that. And then on the pediatric therapy side of things, which I had mentioned, these are a little more self-explanatory. You have speech therapists. So this is somebody, has their degree, is either has their license, or we do also support somebody who needs their fellowship year, which if you know what that is, you know what that is. It's not really worth explaining in a large sense unless you're, going to college for it right now. Just help people or help the kiddos correct their speech patterns and learn that. The occupational therapists will help with more of the kind of the daily living tasks a lot of times, so like helping them eat, hygiene issues, stuff like that. And physical therapists are helping with working one-on-one with the kids on like, well, I don't know, like say they have tight calves, they toe walk, for example, and so helping them learn how to walk, correctly, I guess. And the fun thing about working with pediatrics, I found out meeting with them, is everything's a game. So it's all about being creative and like trying to turn, like a stretch, we'll keep with the toe walking, like a stretch for your calves into a game that, the kids can engage with and like have fun and want to do, right? Um, then I'll also talk about the community living. So I mentioned that before. That's a place where we always have a lot of openings, just because of the large number of locations we have. And so direct support professionals are people that are working directly in the group homes, directly with with the clients. And that's very flexible schedule. It's like Kayla was saying earlier, it's one of our more entry level positions. They're are have a high school diploma, pass a background check. We'll teach you everything else you need to know. And the flexible schedules, there's weekend only, night schedules, there's a lot there in terms of flexibility and what you're looking for. And then on that side of things, it goes up as well. You have program managers, house managers, service coordinators, which kind of fall under the more administrative side of things. And then if Kayla, you want to talk about some of the other openings there.
Yeah, sure. So basically, we also, as Sean was mentioning earlier too, is we have a Fraser School. So also with that too, so we're always, hiring teachers or assistant teachers too. Like the kitchen assistant is also mentioned there too. But if that also isn't something, we do have like client service coordinators. So that is somebody who's kind of working with scheduling and kind of coordinating when the clients are coming into, our specific program. So that's more like of an administration position too as well. And then also case managers who are also kind of working alongside of like community living and also kind of working directly with our clients of the adult population too in that sense. So those are just a brief of the other administrative and other positions that we do offer within Fraser too as well.
Is someone able to take this, or have you froze?
No, I'm sorry. I think my thing did freeze for a second.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it looks, yeah, but so this is just an easy thing. If somebody wants to apply, you can reach out to us any of these ways, or if you have a way to scan the QR code, it'll just take you to our career page on our website. So it's kind of a lot to cover. So if there's questions, uh, I guess I can check, but
You know what occurred to me as you were both describing all of the positions is that really there's something for everyone. You know, there are people who are extroverted in our worlds and who love being around a whole bunch of people, and maybe there would be like a clinic setting where there's a lot of interaction with people. But then there are opportunities for those of us who are a little bit more introverted or shy and prefer that one-to-one connection. There's client-facing roles, but then, you know, it sounds like you do even have some kitchen assistants or some, you know, administrative roles for people who prefer that.
yeah. And then was that question from Jesse Volmer for us, or was that for the previous presenters?
That
Since I
was for
kind
the
of right on the
previous, but
cusp
go
there.
ahead and
Okay.
address it too. How do you approach, you know, everyone's strengths that they bring?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd kind of stick with what you said right there. It's everybody has their strengths that they bring to the table, and I think one thing that somebody who's neurodivergent can bring to that scenario is they know much more directly what what the person they're helping with is going through, and they can relate more directly to that. And that's something that is, it's like I couldn't do, right? And so there's a lot of value, I think, in having somebody who's neurodivergent help in this field a lot, because they can provide a perspective that, isn't, a neurotypical person can't.
You know, if someone does not have their driver's license and relies on public transportation, do you have sites that are on transportation that they can get to and be stationary?
Yeah, we have a location in Minneapolis in particular. I mean, it's in Minneapolis, so there's going to be public transportation nearby. Also, with the parking situation around that location, it might actually be easier because we're not always able to provide parking for everybody there at that location in particular. Um, so, I don't know about our other locations as far as um, Bloomington, I think, would also be public transportation accessible, but some of the other locations I think would be more difficult. But Minneapolis and Bloomington.
And do all of the positions come with benefits, you know, health care, time off? How does that work?
Yeah, Kayla, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can speak to it. So we do offer a comprehensive benefits package for our full-time employees, which includes anybody who's working 30 hours or more. So that's anything from, you can work the entry level positions all the way up to we just provide it on a consistent basis. So basically we offer, eye care, healthcare, medical, that's all covered. We also offer paid time off and paid holidays too as well. So that is all covered, like I said previously too, for individuals who are full-time.
Good. Thank you. Is there anything else that either one of you want to add?
Um, I'm not really. I really like working here. So that if that's something to add, I'll add that.
That's a great testimonial. You know, I like working here. That's fantastic. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I would say the same thing too. We welcome and encourage anybody to apply to as well.
Good. Thank you. Stick around, and I'm going to have the other presenters weigh in on this too. As I was doing my research into working in autism, I found three resources. One is the state of Minnesota's Autism Resource Portal. Much of it is for families who have someone that's been diagnosed, but also it has information on training information. There's the Autism Society of Minnesota that has training programs and workshops and conferences, and also Minnesota State colleges and universities that have a lot of certificate training programs. Um, can any of you add any more information to this? I mean, if someone is thinking about going into that, can they just get a job with you and then look into furthering their career within this? How does that work?
Yeah, no, I guess I could take that one. Yeah, we have a specific position for if somebody is so it's a little difficult going from no bachelor's to a bachelor's, but if somebody's pursuing like a higher education, we have a specific position, the behavior practitioner 2, that is designed for somebody who's pursuing a master's while working. So that is something that we do anyway. I don't know about everybody else, but that's something that we have in the ABA program anyway.
Sure. Good. Thank you. Well, job seekers on the call, they can explore these connections, these training connections, and also it's always good to reach out to the recruiter of your choice to have that further conversation, and that's why we have everyone here to do that. I do want to point out to the job seekers that there are more companies and employers than those who presented today. And I know many of you are from all parts of the state. So I put together this list based on the job search that I did with MinnesotaWorks.net, our state labor exchange. I used the keywords in different searches: behavior therapist, behavior technician, autism, and what came up were things like Bridges, MN, Centene Corporation, Mentor Network, Partners in Excellence, all of the school districts around the state. So even, wherever you live, check with your school district to see what services they provide if they are looking for special education assistants or teachers. St. David's Center, which is a facility in Minnetonka, and then the Minnesota Department of Human Services. They have residential or group homes all over the state, and they're always looking for behavior therapists to work. So that's mn.gov/careers. So take a look at those. Thank you to everyone who has attended. I do want to point out that we will be continuing our Explore Careers series every Tuesday now for the coming months. And in October, we're having a special focus in manufacturing. Next week, we're going to be talking about careers as welders and what are some of the companies that hire welders throughout the state. The following week, October 12th, it will be talking about career pathways, how you can get into a company and then grow within the manufacturing industry. The third week, October 19th, we'll be talking about life sciences, medical devices, that intersection between the sciences, engineering, and manufacturing. And then the last week, we'll be talking about consumer products in materials within the manufacturing world. Find more information under careerforcemn.com/manufacturing. And everyone is welcome, because even as we saw today in autism, there are so many careers besides just being on the manufacturing floor. There's sales, there's customer service, there's administration, there's HR, as well as all of the hands-on careers too that we're going to be exploring. So please check in with all of that. But what I want you all to do right after this webinar is over is jump over to the link that I just put in the chat, metroregioninteractive.easyvirtualfair.com. If you don't already have a login, create a login right away and join the job fair. There are literally 50 employers on this job fair. I've listed them all on the screen right now. Every single industry. All of the recruiters are going to be on this job fair until 5 o'clock for the next 90 minutes, and they want to talk with you. So I hope that you will click on that link that I've just put on in the chat, metroregioninteractive.easyvirtualfair.com, and jump on over to that. At any time, let CareerForce help you with your job fair, and your careers. Email me, liz.jennings at state.mn.us. And let us help you. Let me help you get connected with the career force location nearest you. So thank you to all of our presenters today from the Minnesota Autism Center, Northeast Metro 916 Independent School District, and Fraser for being on and telling us more about careers in the autism services. Take care and see you next week.